Hi, welcome back. I'm Daniel Hylton. Well, the garden's in. The squirrels are hiding hickory nuts and walnuts for the winter, and the indigo buntings that nest up in the walnut tree have sung their last song, gathered their family, and gone south to warmer climes. So let's do an autumn painting. Let's start the timer. Let me get my glasses, and let's paint. Now, I want mostly a sunny day today. Maybe a few little fluffy clouds, I think, today. But, speaking of flying, remind me to tell you about the time I tried flying with some help from my older brothers. No, it wasn't in an aircraft. So remind me in a little bit and I'll tell you that story. Now I want this to be dark at the top and lighter at the bottom. And like I said, I want it to be a mostly sunny day. I'm going to have a few little wispy clouds around, I think. But okay. Let me try to kind of get that looking right. Okay, let's have a few little wispy clouds. Maybe right here, and up there. And some of those kind that just, kind of float around and are maybe a couple up near the top. Okay, let's blend that in real quick. See what we think of it. Yeah, I think that'll look all right. All right, let's have some water in this painting too. I think I'm have kind of a pond or a slough somewhere down here, I think. Okay, that might be a little too green, I don't know. Put a little more blue in that, I guess. And okay, let's blend that in with a big brush too. Make it look good. Talking about my flying story. If you have older siblings or you are an older sibling, you know how that goes. Let me see, I'm going to have some land, maybe kind of go up like that, I think. Yeah. Like I was saying, if you're an older sibling, or you have older siblings, then you undoubtedly understand the guinea pig aspect of families. Now, the older siblings will get these great ideas, and the younger siblings are who it's tried out on. Let's see, I'm going to have something in this corner. I think that's real dark, so I'm going to, here, put this over here. Okay, well, I'm working here. You want to hear the story? I could explain what I'm doing, but most of you you already know how to paint, or you don't really care what I'm doing. So let me tell you the flying story. Well, you know how, now let me see, I'm going to have some trees over here. Try not to get in your way here. You know what? One of those, I think this one, needs to be substantially larger than the others. And these can kind of just go over the hill. Put some trunks in there. Well, anyway, You know how this day and age, when you order a new refrigerator, the delivery men just bring it and set it up. There's no box or anything that you have to worry about. But in the old days, refrigerators used to come in a big old box. And the homeowner would set it up, and then they'd inherit this big old box. Well, when I was 6, my older brothers were 8 and 10. My parents got a new refrigerator, and so we 3 boys inherited a great big cardboard box. My 2 older brothers, who I was given to understand were proper geniuses by them, they gave me that understanding. They took that big old cardboard box and thought, well, what can we do with this? Well, the longer they looked at those big old pieces of cardboard, the more they, oh man, I don't want to mess that up like that. The more they looked at those big old pieces of cardboard, the more they got to thinking that they could take those sides and cut them into cardboard wings that would be big enough that someone could glide all the way across the barnyard on them, using them as wings. So they did. They cut some big old wings out of these cardboard boxes, and they duct taped some straps to them so a person could wear them. They're about 4.5 feet long, very wide. You know how big a refrigerator box is. And of course, then they decided that little brother ought to be the one to try it out. You know, the rule of the lightest person should be the one to jump off the shed roof with cardboard wings attached. And so that was what was decided. And you know, because I was so impressed with their engineering genius, I was perfectly willing to go along with their ideas, because I had been led to believe that they were proper geniuses. And so the idea was to make that one a little different color, I think. The idea was to get up on the equipment shed, the roof of the equipment shed, and get a running start and glide across the barnyard. Next to the barn, there was a big stack of hay. The idea was to glide across there and end up landing on that hay. So, like I said, they convinced me of their engineering and creativity and inventing prowess. And so I did it. I got up there and let them hook me up. You see, I need to make this hillside look like it's got old end of summer dry grass and brush and stuff on it. Well, anyway, my brothers got me up on the equipment shed roof. Now, the equipment shed had 2 advantages. One is that it was about 40 feet long, and the roof was pretty gently sloped, so it was easy to walk on. Of course, the major advantage it had was that the equipment shed could not be seen from the kitchen window in case my mother happened to be there, you know, fixing supper or doing dishes or whatever. So she wouldn't be able to see what was going on out there on top of the equipment shed, which I think was integral to their plan. Anyway, so they got me up on the roof, showed me the stack of hay over there on the other side of the barnyard, attached the cardboard wings to me, put my arms through the straps, and they said, now, Dan, you got to back up. Get a good running start, but if you get a good running start and hold your arms out stiff, you can glide all the way across the barnyard, about 30, 40 yards, all the way to that stack of hay. But you got to get a good running start. So, oh, you know what? I'm going to have some trees up here, so I'm going to need some darkness up here. Yeah, I'm going to need some darkness on this right here. So you strapped the wings on me, and I backed up across the equipment shed roof. Took a look at that haystack, and I thought, I'm going to need a, because I wasn't completely stupid, so I thought I'm going to need a better start than this. So I backed up a little further and took another look at it. Took another look at my goal over there across the barnyard, and decided, no, I better back up a little further. So I backed up a little further, took another look at my goal over there, thought I still need a little more distance. So I took one more step back and stepped right off the end of the shed. And I promise you, as I plummeted to the earth, no matter how frantically I flapped, those wings did no good. Now, fortunately, there was a great big pile of horse manure below that end of the shed, and it broke my fall, kept me from breaking a leg or an ankle, but it gave me an interesting aroma that I had to explain to my mother. And she was pretty clever, so she kind of figured out what had been going on. Okay, I want that to just look like a... Actually, this is a little too rough for my liking. I'm going to calm this down a little bit. I want it to look like grass, not necessarily brush. I do want to keep those variegations, those streaks and stuff in it. All right, let's put some trees over here. Now, anyway, that's how I once tried to fly. But I'm going to tell you something. I pulled myself out of that pile of horse manure, and I immediately turned in my pilot's license. Okay, that's a little too dark. A little too dark here, because I'm going to want the trunks to show against this. And okay, yeah. In fact, let's decide where we're going to have these trees. See, I'm going to have a little one here, I think, and maybe a smaller one here. Yeah, kind of like that. And I have a big one that has kind of a canopy on it, like that. Okay, now let's put our trunks in here. And I told you, reminded you, if you have siblings, you know about the guinea pig rule. Older siblings, parents bring a younger brother or sister home, and the older siblings go, all right, we got us a guinea pig. Well, that wasn't the last adventure I had with my older brothers. Like I told you, they were proper geniuses. At least they convinced me that they were. And so there were other adventures to follow. That winter, in fact, we had quite a buildup of snow that winter. We had like 2 or 3 snowstorms in a row, and got I don't know, 3 or 4 feet out of the deal. Oh, that's too big. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, we got about 3 or 4 feet out of the deal, and Now, we were the children of a minister, so we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have skis. So my brothers looked at all that snow and got the idea that, let's have this one be kind of a, let's have this one be a fairly bright yellow. Okay. But my brothers got the idea that, okay, I need to clean up that trunk. My brothers got the idea that if you took some 2x4s, about 4.5 feet long, took a saw and angled the ends, that you could make skis. You know, nail some leather straps onto the sides if they're properly angled. Now, let me see. Hold on. I want to do that other tree back there. I think this way. So they got the idea that they could make skis out of a couple of 2x4s, like I said. So they found a couple of 2x4s, and they cut the ends at an angle. They nailed some leather straps on it. We climbed out. We went out of town and climbed the hill out there outside of town. And, well, you know the old rule, the smallest and lightest person should be the one to try out any new invention to see if it really works. So they strapped me on to their makeshift skis. And now the hill was pretty steep. And like I said, there was a lot of snow. The hill had a good angle on it. It had that steepness for about 25, 30 yards down the hill. And then it kind of moderated a little bit. But anyway, they strapped the skis on me and sent me down the hill. And it worked for a while. Actually did. It worked for a little bit. I got up a really good head of steam. And I got up a really good head of steam. I was booking. It seemed to me like I was going 100 miles an hour. I wasn't, of course, but I was really going. And believe it or not, for a while the skis worked. But right where that hill moderated, where the angle of the slope changed, there must have been something under the snow. Maybe a big rock, or I don't know. Maybe a tree had fallen over. There was a log. Now I'm going to have some brush here. I'm going to have to get going here, folks. I'm going to get some brush in this hollow here. Anyway, there's probably either a big rock or a down tree or something like that was in that, laying right there where the hillside began to moderate. And the skis dug in and changed from being skis to being a kind of a catapult. And it launched me. And down the hill, down into the air and over I went. Now I probably only went about, I don't know. I probably only went maybe 5 or 6 or 7 feet in the air. Felt like I went 1,000. And I'll tell you, just before I went head first into the snow, I was thinking, man, I'm going to put some reeds, tules or something along this whatever this is here, slough or pond. Just before I dove in the snow, I'll tell you something. I was wishing I had me some cardboard wings. Now, eventually the experiment stopped. you know, mostly because my brothers got older and became interested in girls and less interested in exotic engineering. And I'm going to have some here too. Also, I got older and I grew a brain, and I realized that they might not be the proper geniuses that I once thought them to be. So the experiment stopped and probably saved my life. I mean, I still think they're two of the cleverest men I know, but do I think they're proper geniuses? No, I do not. No, I do not. Oops. Not that color. I need this color. And some brown over here. We got 10 minutes left. I better get going here. Anyway, that's the story of how I tried to fly and tried to ski and failed at both. Okay, I'm going to get my big brush here real quick and try to make those look like their reflections. Okay. Now, let's I'm in your way again. I'm sorry. Okay. I have got to. I don't think I'm going to have anything on the little protrusion here. I'm just going to have some reeds or tules or whatever these are. Okay. Get over there and put a shoreline. Okay. Now I need to have these reeds or whatever have some color, and not just be brown. Actually, I should have put that on first. You know that? Make it look right. And then get some of this green and put that in there too. Give it a little bit of different color. Kind of make it look right. Okay. And some black near the bottom, or I'm using burnt umber today to give it the base. Yeah, you know what? Those are going to be tulies, I think. So let's have a few, like that. Actual cattails on them. Maybe, those are too high over there. I got to knock those down a bit, folks. That's a bit too much over there. I'm going to try to kind of blend that in so it not quite so. And I'm not going to put any cattails over there. I only have 5 minutes. Okay, I need a little bit of, let me see, let me use this brush. I need a little bit of brightness up here in spots. Just kind of break that up. Looks like we've got a little bit of sun coming down through here. And over here too, maybe. Now let's put some highlight on that brush over there. I don't know what kind of brush this is, but it's something. Put a little darkness underneath it. And let's have something in this corner. Something. Let me see. Something that looks like. Let me use a bigger brush than that. Let me use this brush. Looks like something. Yeah. Some kind of brush or something here. And we'll put a few. 3 minutes. I better get going. We'll put a few limbs or something here. Make it look like it's a plant or something. Okay, and then let's put some of this red brush on it and kind of have it go out over the water so it looks like there's some leaves over the water. If you ask me what kind of brush this is, I don't really know, because I don't know. I just like the way it looks. One more thing. Tell you what, we have 2 minutes. Tell you what I'm going to do. I think I'll have it looks like maybe it's a cow pasture up there, so I'm going to have a fence come over this hill, down through here, to the edge of the water. Okay, come on, show up a little better than that. Yeah, there we go. And I don't know if you'd be able to see any wire or not, but let's act like there's some wire going down through there. I don't know about that. I don't know that was such a good idea. Kind of messed up my posts here. I'm gonna put some, make them show up a little bit better. Well, guess there's 2 posts there. Well, that's a mistake. And it can't really be fixed now, but I could put another post there. And maybe the fence kind of comes together there or something. 30 seconds. I want to highlight the trunks of these trees a little bit if I can, with some white, just to make them show up a little better. Ah, that didn't show up at all. Well, that's what I can do. It's time for me to sign this thing and be done. So let me do that. Let me sign this thing real quick. And since this is number 5, we'll put a 5 right here. All right. Thank you for watching, folks. Let me get these ready so the light don't shine on. Thank you for watching, folks. I really appreciate your time. If you enjoy this at all, share it with somebody or tell somebody. I appreciate it. And hope to see you next week. Until then, take care and God bless.